Hello. Welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I'll be guiding you on this journey. And this journey is going to be a little bit different because we're going to do a look ahead to 2024. I've been doing these readings and every single one of them has been so effing cool. And I love the vibe that is coming through with them. So like I said, it's more of like an overview for the year. It could be energy that you're feeling now. It could be energy that you're, of course, looking forward to. So it is a 7-card spread, and I'll just kind of go through what those 7 positions are, and then I might put a key just on this side of the screen. Maybe, I don't know. I'll try it and see how it looks. And if it looks dumb, I'm not going to do it. So if you don't see it, then it looked dumb. But, and if you're like me, you may not even watch the actual video, but more just listen to it and do a bunch of other stuff or play games on your phone or something. That's what I do when I watch videos or listen to videos. So it may not matter to you anyway, unless of course you do actually watch the actual video instead of just listening to it. So the first position is clarity, what your personal theme for 2024 will be. The second position is a horizon, what you can expect in 2024. Third position is strength, how to harness your inner power. Fourth position is sunset, what you're leaving behind in 2023. Advice, the lesson that you learned in 2023 is the 5th position. The 6th position is the obstacle or challenge you'll face in 2024. And then lastly, the 7th position is navigation, and that's guidance for the year ahead. So that's what we're going to do this time around. And all right. So this is the reading for the 3-5 or the Martyr Heretic profile in human design. If you don't know what your human design profile is, there's a link in my description below to get your human design body graph, and your profile is one of many bits of information regarding your specific design that you'll find on there. But for the purposes of these readings, we're just going based on your design. I think it's kind of funny because I've done 2 other readings today. One was a 3-6 and one is the 6-3. And now I'm doing the 3-5, and I don't think that there are any other 3s to do. So I don't know, like it's just kind of funny to me that it just so happened to work out that way. And, I use a bowl to choose the order. So that's why also too, I'm, like when stuff like that happens, I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. Anyway, so I'm just going to shuffle a few times while I'm talking, and then I'm going to split the deck twice. I'm going to take the middle pile, and we'll take the top 7 cards off of the middle pile. And then, of course, I will share with you what each position is because, again, this is a reading looking ahead to 2024. And let's just shuffle a few more times and then we'll get into it. Okay. 1, 2. All right. So your personal theme for 2024 is the Knight of Cups. What you can expect in 2024 is the Chariot. How to harness your inner power is the Knight of Wands. What you're leaving behind in 2023 is the Nine of Cups. Lesson you learned in 2023 is the Hermit. A challenge you'll face in 2024 is the King of Swords. And guidance for the year ahead is the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like I just kind of want to say this right away, that what you're leaving behind in 2023 and the lesson that you learned in 2023, it feels like keeping your dreams to yourself. Like it feels like resting on your dreams, sitting on your dreams, keeping yourself small, not kind of putting yourself out there. I mean, we'll get to it, but I just didn't want to forget that because it came through so strong. It almost like got stuck in my throat. Like, even if it's a matter of communicating your desires, communicating your needs, communicating what you hope to happen, especially, again, right, like what you're leaving behind and the lesson that you learned, because the lesson is a hermit. And the hermit is like, you know, kind of a lone wolf. It's, you know, like isolation. It's also like, you know, kind of following your own path. But it just came through as like hiding it or not like living it in some capacity. So we start with the Knight of Cups for your personal theme for 2024. And cups have to do with our emotions. You know, right? Like our emotional body. How do we feel about our lives? How do we feel about ourselves? How do we feel about the people in our lives, what we're doing? You know, how we're spending our time. It says romanticize the present moment every chance that you get. It's a lot of like, it's, of course, cups are emotions, right? But it is like mindset and allowing yourself to be present and not be, you know, stuck in the past or not be too far in the future. The Knight of Cups is also the knight in shining armor out of the tarot. So, you know, it's somebody that kind of comes in to save the day, or it's that thing that you need with a knight in shining armor type of vibe to it. Somebody, you know, like kind of coming to save the day. But it's also like you saving your own day, right? The Knight of Cups is also going to follow their heart. They're going to allow their passions, what they love, to drive the decisions that they make. This is also very like strategy and authority heavy. Because your strategy and authority is designed to help you enter into the quote unquote correct experiences for you and not enter into the incorrect experiences for you. And then your profile is how you interact with the energies, the people in those experiences. So again, right? Like it's allowing decisions to sink down and go through the filter of your strategy and authority before you go towards them. It is very focused on your own desires though, okay? So I feel like all of a sudden I'm beating a dead horse with that. What you can expect in 2024 is a Chariot. It says you'll never get anywhere if you keep standing still. I didn't even read that before I started, when I was talking about the Nine of Cups and the Hermit. So the Chariot is attached to Cancer. We have a Cancer full moon on Tuesday, which is the last full moon of the year. And also, I believe that we started the year with a Cancer moon, I can't remember if it was a new moon or a full moon, but it was the first one of the year, and it was also in Cancer. So you might even just want to take stock of how the year has progressed for you. Where did you start in 2023? Are you in the same position you were at the beginning of 2023 as you are at the end of 2023? Or Are you allowing yourself now to move forward? Because the Chariot is progress. It's progressing forward. It can be fast if you want it to be. There's also kind of a divine guidance aspect to it. It's allowing yourself to be guided again by your intuition or by the things that you love, your passions, the things that make you feel good, because these are both water. Cancer is a water sign, right? So it is allowing yourself to be guided even by your strategy and authority. It can even be, like getting a bit more familiar with that going forward. Also, too, though, I find it interesting that the person in this card is riding their bike to the left, because the left side of the card is the past, the right side of the card is the future. So it's almost kind of like I'm getting this feeling of, were there things that you kept revisiting? Even that feeling of beating a dead horse that I felt all of a sudden. Like, is there something that has been in your life or has been around in 2023 that there is something that you feel like is beating a dead horse? And especially because it's, what that saying, beating a dead horse, it's like going back to something, revisiting something, because, right, the proverbial poor horse is already dead. And if you keep going back and, it's overkill, right? So, and I know that's like a morbid analogy to use, and I apologize for that, but also, like, if that's how we recognize a pattern in our lives, right? And especially with the message on here being, you'll never get anywhere if you keep standing still. You'll also never get anywhere if you keep going back. It's one thing to look at our past, it's one thing to remember it, to honor it, whatever the case may be. But also, if we keep going back to something in our past, and especially if we keep going back to the same patterns, the same behaviors, the same type of people, right? But again, it's like expecting a different result. Isn't that like the definition of insanity or something? It's like doing the same thing, expecting a different result, but nothing's changed. So why would there be a different result? If our approach to it, if our intention behind it, if our feelings about it, if nothing's changed, but we're somehow expecting a different result, that is insane. So I feel like it's interesting, these two cards, following your passion, allowing your heart to lead you, but also allowing yourself to start moving forward, following your own intuition. How to harness your inner power is the Knight of Wands, and it says sometimes you have to be willing to bend the rules a little. Now, this person is either sneaking in or sneaking out of this window. I also find it kind of interesting because these people on this card, the illustration of these people, it could be the same person. Just hairstyle wise, in this one it looks wet and kind of straight, but in this one it's curly. But the color could be the same person. I don't know. That's just kind of interesting to me. But how to harness your inner power. Again, sometimes you have to be willing to bend the rules a little bit. Wands have to do with action. It's the motivation behind the actions that we take. It's, our creativity, our passions. How are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? And the Knight of Wands is adventurous. They are willing to try new things. And it is a bit about breaking outside of a box. And you have that fifth line on the design side. So it may not be very conscious to you, but you might just feel this undertone, this little whisper inside of you to step outside of tradition. Because that is very heretical, right? One of the definitions of heretic is breaking outside of the box. It's going against tradition. It's making your own path, which is very hermit too. And we'll get to the hermit card, of course. But it's also this willingness to allow yourself to do things differently. But also being guided by your passions, being guided by your creativity. Especially that we have these two knights out here. So the Knight of Cups is attached to their emotion. They're being guided by what they love. The Knight of Wands is like, I just kind of feel it like snappy, right? Like it's impulsive, but it's like calculated impulse. Even too, because this person is either sneaking out or sneaking into the room from a window, there's this feeling, I think, was it Denzel Washington that said like, hustle in private? Not everybody needs to know your business. Not everybody needs to know your next move. It's really up to you if you want to tell people about what you're doing, right? Like, need to know basis. And if they don't need to know, you don't need to tell them. I mean, even like this YouTube channel, when I first started this YouTube channel, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody for 3 or 4 months. And then like the only reason why I started telling people is that it just somehow started coming up in conversation. And also too, though, like I'm a manifesting generator. So it was something to respond to. I think people, like I was having conversations with people who were thinking about starting a YouTube channel or whatever. And I was like, and I felt, again, right, like going through my strategy and authority, I responded to what they were saying with some of my own experience. And people were like, what? You have a YouTube channel? Oh, yeah, I do. But I didn't feel the need to tell people. And granted, like part of that was, of course, insecurity. I'm a 5/1. So, you know, I have that first line in the design side or the unconscious side. So I lead with insecurity anyway. It's always going to be there. I don't know. But, in any case, so my point is, like, you don't have to tell people if you don't want to. Also, even like doing things your own way. Because even having that third line on the conscious side, that third line is all about trial and error, right? Like it's discovering things, learning things by doing them, right? So having that third line of trying things, doing things with the fifth line, the heretic line, it is trying different things. It is trying things outside of what traditionally people do. And whether that's a job, whether that's, you know, how you approach things, whatever it is for you, right? Because this is in a position of how to harness your inner power. So this is really getting into your own way of doing things. What you're leaving behind in 2023 is the 9 of Cups. It says live in a constant state of gratitude. But like I was saying, so the 9 of Cups is wish fulfillment. Your desires being met, you know, acting on your passions. All of your cups are full. 9s are individual completion. So it is reaching a place where you emotionally feel fulfilled. You emotionally feel purposeful. And with this being in a position of what you're leaving behind, it means that you have reached a level of completion within something this year that you feel good about. You know, like your life could be in a stable position, or your job, you know, like it could even have been discovering what is wish fulfillment for you. It doesn't necessarily have to be like your job is stable or your relationships are stable or whatever, right? But it's getting clarity on what that looks like for you. And also too, there is this chill vibe happening in here, right? Like feeling relaxed, not moving very fast. And especially with this, what you can expect in 2024, you'll never get anywhere if you keep standing still. This person is still in this depiction, in this illustration. So, again, though, like I was saying at the beginning, like what you're leaving behind, if you haven't communicated or if you haven't acted on, and I'm pointing at the Knight of Wands because the Knight of Wands is going to act on their passions. They're going to move towards and express their creativity. So you're leaving behind just feeling it. You're leaving behind not acting on what you desire for yourself. And the lesson that you learned in 2023 being the Hermit card, this is attached to Virgo. And it says there are some things that must be done on your own. This could even have been some level of emotional healing too. The Hermit, like I said, is very lone wolfy, but it's like, your journey, your path is unique to you. And even having that Heretic fifth line, it especially is unique to you. So, that they're holding a pendulum here too. There's all of these books. It says Solitary Witch on their sweatshirt. So if you have been, kind of just hermiting out, if you've been hiding out a little bit, even in the process of healing, right? Because I do feel like there is a major portion of healing that requires us to be in our own feelings. Because like we have to unpack what those feelings are. Even having all these books around too, right? It's acquiring knowledge. It's discovering something new. Information. I think that third line is also very much about information. I think I probably already said that, like with the wands. Wands are also about information because that's what we get by trying things. What works and what doesn't work. What do we like and what don't we like? That's that trial and error process too. That's making and breaking bonds too. This also even has this feeling of like discovering something within yourself, like discovering your own strength, discovering your own something, because there are some things that must be done on your own. Like only you can determine what is correct for you. A challenge you'll face in 2024 is the King of Swords, and it says we can all learn important things from one another. Now, kings are the highest expression of the suit, right? And swords have to do with our minds, ideas, mindset. It's truth and honesty, but divine, objective truth and honesty. I also see swords as being the suit of ego because that's generally where we hear our ego is in our minds, and our ego is created by the stories that we attach to experiences, to events, to feelings, whether they're our stories or not, and whether they're true or not. But it becomes the reason why we do things and why we don't do things, how we interact with ourselves, how we interact with our lives, right? And a big portion of human design is deconditioning all of that ego stuff. So it's interesting too that, what you're leaving behind, or the lesson that you learned in 2023 is the Hermit card, and there's all these books, right? And then in the King of Swords, there's all these books too. I mean, they might be in a library, but the King of Swords being the highest expression of the suit, right? There's a mastery of knowledge. There's an intellectual mastery here. There's a clarity of thought. There's, like mindset being locked in. Kings also are looked to as authority. People look to them for guidance. It could be applying the applying the healing, like transferring how you feel emotionally and reflecting that and how you think, because those are two different things. And it is a process to really kind of link those things up. I mean, you could be sharing your something like with other people. I mean, they're at this typewriter. So maybe you're deciding to write a book. Maybe you're deciding to start a blog. It could even be a resume. Maybe you're putting your experience down on paper, especially with the Queen of Pentacles. Next, Pentacles having to do with our money. But, you could be putting down, your musings, like what you've learned through your trial and error process. But there is some sort of like sharing it. It could even be school. Like maybe you're finishing a program, finishing a degree. And this would be like your thesis or like your last, capstone or whatever. I think capstone was what they called it. I went to school for graphic design. Well, I also went to school for criminal justice, and I don't remember there being like a final paper or something that like I had to do. If there was, I have no clue. But again, I'm just saying, like, it could be finishing a program. It doesn't necessarily have to be college, but it could be just something that is going to help you obtain a higher position. The guidance for 2024 is the Queen of Pentacles. It says there's no need to sacrifice. You can have it all. And it says the witch is in on the door. So I see queens as like when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves, we recognize the energy within ourselves. We master that energy within ourselves also. And then the kings are when we share those things with other people. So pentacles have to do with our money, how we save it, how we spend it, how we get it. It's our physical time. Like, where are we spending our physical time? Where are we physically showing up in our lives? It's also our physical health. What's going on with our bodies? Are we prioritizing our health in some capacity? So the guidance for 2023 or 2024 being there's no need to sacrifice, you can have it all. It's like, not allowing yourself, and especially with this being in the challenge position, like don't just try not to allow yourself to get, to put blinders on. Like, and just, like not allowing yourself to believe mentally that it can only be one thing, or it can only be one way, or it can only, like single focus, especially with this being the message with the Queen of Pentacles. You can have it all. The witch is in is what that says. So this could be reaching pentacles with our money, right? Like reaching a point in your financial security. I think, did I mention that somewhere else? I don't know. But where you feel comfortable or that you wanted to get to, which was what your 9 of Cups is, because your 9 of Cups is what you're leaving behind in 2023. So this is, and like I was saying about not acting on those desires, this would be materializing this 9 of Cups into the physical plane. Instead of it just being an emotion, it's now a reality here with the Queen of Pentacles. And I absolutely love that for you. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.